Hi there, I'm going to quickly make a hinge mechanism. I haven't done this before, so it's going to be a bit of an adventure for me. I might come along some snags in the way, but we'll see how we do. So I'm making the height 10, making the length 10, the width 10, and I'm going to make this 30. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do for the barrel part of the hinge, I'm going to make this 30, same length. I make this 10 and 10. 10 and 10. Great, okay. Now I'm going to just imagine that I've got a pin running through my barrel, which is, I can draw this as well afterwards, but this is going to be 5 by 5, and I'm going to give it a height of 30 again, just to keep things nice and simple. And what I might do is I might just duplicate this and also just have that as a solid, so I can have that as a pin. Now I think what I'd like to do, as it goes sometimes with the 3D printer, it's a good idea to have things slightly smaller if we do have a pin. And I'm going to make that 4 by 4. We can actually have like a pin part that goes on the top. We'll make that also 2. Let me see, so we'll make that a height of 2. Just goes on the extra. In actual fact, what we could do is we can make the height of this one sort of, yeah, no, that has to go through the whole thing, so we have to make it that way. And I'm going to make this 8 by 8, so it would fit like, but you can still see it's slightly smaller than the barrel. I'm going to move up my pin by 2. There you go. And I'm going to take these both and I'm going to align them using the align button, and I'm going to group them, and that's my pin there. So it's actually a little bit smaller than the hole. I'm going to go back to the barrel, and what I'm going to do is align them. Here we go, and that's nicely aligned. I'm going to group them. Group. Okay, good. And I'm also going to duplicate this because I'm going to need this. Okay, so let's just move this over to here. This is kind of our little spare parts area. Now what I'm going to do, actually I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it before I duplicate it. So I'm going to actually turn this 90 degrees. So let's give this a go. So that's the one I want. So I'm just putting the value, I'm going to undo that and start that again, I think. Let's turn that, well, we can turn that like 90, and we'll just turn the other way, that's fine. So that's good. And let's align these two first. So we're going to make sure, oh actually I want to, yeah, I want to align these first. I think what I'll do is I'll duplicate the whole thing when I put it together. So let's just get them on the same plane, and let's get them to the same end, and let's center them. Okay, and I'm just going to move the whole thing down until it's to 0. So I want everything on the same plane. And I'm going to take the block, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it out using the arrow key, using the left arrow key. Keep going. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We'll leave it like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this, yeah, we can actually join these two together. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to bring this down and make this 5. Okay, I prefer that actually. I can play around with this a little bit more to make it a bit prettier, but I'm quite happy with that. So let's just have a look at our distances again. So let's have a look. The whole thing is, so when we group these, let's see what happens. We group these, what's it turn into? What's our distance? So that's 18. So I've moved it across. You know, I've moved it across a little bit extra. So I'm just going to ungroup these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two ungrouped and I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to move them over here, and what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use the mirror. I'm going to mirror them. Okay, and you're going to see why I'm going to do this in a moment. Right, okay, so what I want to do with this now is I want to make this a third of the size, so I'm going to make it 10. Okay, and I'm going to very carefully duplicate this, and I'm going to use I can use the arrow buttons, but I'm actually going to use the shift button, and I'm going to drag this along. Okay, I'm going to drag this along, and I can put in the value of 20, and I'm happy with that. Okay, that's fine. Alright, good. Now, just to make sure that we have a sort of a freedom of movement, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the center barrel a little bit smaller than these two here. Okay, so what I'm going to do first here now is I'm just going to select this all and group this. This bit here is done. Okay, it should all be grouped. I'll try that again. It should all go the same color. So I'm just going to, wondering kind of why that hasn't grouped. Okay, something's going on with TinkerCAD. Yep, it's grouped, it's just kind of thinking about it. So let's move that away. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure that this fits within my barrel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this actually, well, I'm going to actually make this 10 again. I'll make it 11 actually. Okay, and I'm going to actually make this, I'm going to play at this end, and I'm going to make this also 11. Excuse me for that. Alright, and I'm going to make the height 11 as well. Okay, right, so what's this doing? This is actually making everything a little bit wider, because I'm going to turn this into a sort of a hole. Okay, great. Now I'm going to take this same shape and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to move that to the end. I think I'll just use the shift button again. And let me see, it's going to be to the end, it's going to be what, 18? Is that right? No, it's going to be 19, because I'm missing -1 from my 20. So there we go. I think that's right. Okay, this is looking good so far. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it one last time. And I want to actually make it the way it was. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a solid shape. Okay. And I'm going to make this a bit smaller. So I'm going to make it 8. But before then I'm going to make that 10. Oh, I'm going to stop there for a minute. I want to make this 11. Leave it at 11 for a second. I'm going to duplicate this again, and I'll tell you why. I've forgotten to put the same sort of curve like into the other one, so I'll come back to that one. So now I'm going to make this 10. Yeah, I'm going to make this 10. No, actually, I'm not going to even worry about that. I'm going to make the top bit 10. Alright, okay, and that's all set. Now what I want to do is I want to move this back in, but I want to line everything up perfectly. This is tricky. So let's just group this first, and that's now kind of, let's just think about this. Can we just move this back in? Let's try it. Let's just try centering them. So I'm going to just take this one, press the shift button, and I'm going to try to align these. See what happens. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. I want to just center them. How does that look? That looks fine. Okay, because I was moving it out in the first place. That looks okay. Yeah, great. And it should be, if you look at it, it should be slightly, there should be a slight difference there. So that looks absolutely fine to me. Right, good. Okay, I'm going to group it. That one's done. Fantastic. Now, you remember I had these ones here again. I'm going to just try to figure out a way of adding this as a whole so that it kind of lines up. So let's see if we can do this by just aligning. Let's center it. Let's have a look at this. Do we do this? If we center it, if we bring it to the end, and it's out a bit, isn't it? Because that's 11 and those are 10. So what I can do is I've aligned it so it's actually this edge here. If we look down on it, if we go to the top and look down on it, let me just drag this over here. You can see here that that edge is a sort of a straight line there. We don't want that to be dead on because then there'll be too much of this material taken out once that shape is a hole out of the back part of our hinge. So what we want to do is you want to move this forward a little bit. So I'm going to just use my shift button and move it forward. Should just be 1, I believe. Undo. Let's just use my arrow key button. Okay, let's have a look. Is that centered? It doesn't look centered, does it? So maybe we need to move it back just incrementally a little bit further back. So I'm just going to move it back this way. I think it's an 05. Maybe it's even less. We try just going back minus 0.5. Yeah, that's it. It was only a ½ millimeter difference. That makes sense because it's only an extra 1 going around. And I think I might need to do the same for the height as well. Let's look inside of this. Yes, it needs to go down by ½ millimeter as well. So I'm just going to use this button and start to drag it down, which is the that's the height button, and I'm going to put in a value of minus 0.5. Okay, and let's look inside of it now. It all lines up brilliant. So it was just a difference of 0.5, 0.5 after aligning everything. So I could just show you that again. So let's just align these again. So let's just check that. So it's aligning them like this. Oh, hang on, not like this. It was aligning them using the sort of left-hand one. And you see that's lined up now. And if we center that, that's also aligned. And what we want to do is we want to, in actual fact, bring this forward, bring it this way, 0.5, and then, actually it's already been aligned by centering it. So use that part of the alignment, that's fine, or you can just adjust the height by using the cone, that cone there at the top to change the height. Once that's done, let's turn it into a hole and let's group it. It's grouped. Perfect. Hold up, what's happened there? Oh, I see. Because I expanded it, I didn't actually expand the circle on the inside. Okay, so that stayed the same. Okay. So what I could do to deal with that is just do the undo button here. Sorry about that. And I can ungroup this. Is that now solid? Yeah, and you see there's actually a hole inside of that, which I want to get rid of. Can I select that and get rid of it? No, I can't. Let's undo that again. Maybe if we make this also a hole, and then we can kind of spy on it on the inside. There we go. Can we get rid of that? Yes, we can. Okay, so you need to do that as well. Don't forget. Alright, so just going to use the shift button to select both and now group. Hopefully we've got rid of that sort of inner, that inner kind of flange bit. Oh, I just ungrouped. Now, there we go. Yes, that worked. Brilliant. Okay, so that's it. Let's see if these marry up quite well. It looks as though it's a success. Yeah. Let's just go back minus 1.05. Yep, looks fine. I might need to play with the height a little bit. Might need to go forward and back a little bit, but that looks as though that will work. So you want to print this. When you print this, you want to print it separately. And also the pin you want to have stud up. So that's kind of like next to it, maybe here at the end. Now, I'm just going to align these two. Hold up. What's going on there? Does that just suddenly become ungrouped? No, it hasn't. Good. So these two, I want to just align them. Oh, they're already aligned. Perfect. You can put drill holes through these as well. So I'm just very quickly going to do a drill hole. So that would be, let's say 3 by 3. So that's a 6 mil. That's a 3 mil radius hole. And if I remember, this was 30. So let's duplicate this and move it 25 this way, or minus 25 in this instance. No, actually what I want to do is I want to do it this way. So I want to go this way, so hang on. So let's just duplicate it and bring it this way, 25, minus 25 in this instance. Okay, great. And I'm just going to select that one, and I'm going to group those two. And then I can just put them over wherever I want. I've kind of done an extra 2.5 difference on each. So what you might want to do is just to sort of play around with this a bit. So I think this is 10. So if we just have these two together, aligned to the back, like that, and if I take these, and if I just use the this button here to go 2 forward, that's fine, and I can do the same for the other. I'm just going to go across to here, and that's fine. Okay, so let's just do this, and we're going to group these. Oh, undo. Sorry, the wrong button. Group these again. Group. And group. Now I could do this a lot nicer. I could like put in, for example, a sort of like a chamfered hole to make it good for a countersunk hole or something like that. But I think this is pretty fine. Hope that's been informative. I know it's been a long one. Thanks for staying with me. Thanks for sort of staying with through the mistakes. But this is the first time I tried it. I think it worked out quite well. Thanks. Bye.